Hey guys, welcome to TRUtalk. I'm Grindhead Jim. There's a hurricane coming, so boards, nails, milk, bread, the essentials. Some folks are after it. Some folks are using Amazon. Just it depends on how you are. But we're going to talk about that. Superman's Harry Cavill, big dude, British accent, very problematic mustache. Is going to be Witcher on Netflix. Mustache optional, from what I understand. The Destiny 2 weekly reset ain't working right. Bungie's on it, but people can't stop crying. So get some tissues if you got some issues. But we'll talk about that too. And Horizon Zero Dawn gets a board game on Kickstarter. I don't know how to feel about that, but I'll figure it out by the time we talk about it. There's this guy named Myth, and he's mad at his chat. That's a thing. We'll talk about it. PS5 release date coming soon. Really, I think it's a bit early for us to talk about this sort of thing. But you know what? Hey, we got to get the scoop sometime. I don't have any ice cream, so we're doing this. It's the best I can do. And because I can't do my comeback after missing the podcast last week without more Destiny 2 news. There's a championship belt on the line this Friday. But let's get into it.
So there's a hurricane coming. I'm right in the middle of it. The True headquarters is like ground zero for where this thing's coming. There's even like, if you look at the map, you look at the True office, Florence says, I'll be here Saturday morning. We're going to get into that a little bit because everyone's freaking out and it's obnoxious and it's a little funny. I get to complain and joke about Superman and The Witcher. I saw some comments in this article about it. It's going to be fun to annoy people with because I think it's just a whole bunch of people up in arms about nothing. And I'm a
Aren't
big...
they always, though?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If there's something to complain about, we'll find it. Yeah, exactly.
The internet goes something like this. And that's basically the internet.
You missed
that's
a
the sound of the
two.
internet.
You missed a couple
Yeah.
of
No. I feel that the chair has not recognized the country of Re at this time.
Okay, so moving on. Horizon Zero Dawn's Kickstarter. Love the game. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of facts about the company running the Kickstarter. There's a lot of concerns there. If you're into Kickstarter, this will be something definitely good to know. What you got, Jim?
Well, there's this guy named Myth, and he's mad at his chat, and I get it. Essentially, he is taking a stand in a way that many people aren't. It's a thing. People are already talking about the PlayStation 5. I don't get it, but we'll talk about it. Destiny 2 is a championship belt, so they're going a bit pro wrestling with this. There's some cool stuff with it, though. But they've been so busy working on the belt that the weekly reset isn't quite working right. So people are really mad about the 2 possible engrams they're not going to get. But we have a guest. I guess we always have a guest, but this is a special, extra special guest, Mr. Pure Instinct. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm trying to stay dry.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was wondering about that. If you were needing to evacuate or anything.
No.
I don't know. I live in the Midwest. I've never been through a hurricane, so I get snow.
Powder, antiperspirant. It works for me.
Oh man.
But we'll talk more about inappropriate wetness later. So.
Oh man. Jim takes a week off. He comes back, and we're so far off the rails, more so than usual. I love it.
Well, Mr. Pure Instinct, can I call you Pure, or you prefer Mr. Instinct?
You can call me Mr. Pure Instinct, Pure MPI. MPI is kind of stuck around the community, I feel like, so that one's fine.
Can't do it. It's too Tom Selleck, too Magnum PI for me. Can't do it. You don't have a Ferrari. I don't see Higgins, man. You don't got a guy that drives a helicopter for. If you do, that'd be cool. But you don't.
I wish I did.
Stick with Pure.
Pure's fine.
Don't we all? So, what is your deal with Twitch? How what is what your corner is like. How did you get started? What did it morph into, and what makes you Mr. Pure Instinct today?
So I guess it kind of like rolls back to probably 3 years ago. A friend and I decided we like to play video games. We like YouTube. Why don't we make a Let's Play channel together? We formed a Let's Play channel. It fell apart. He had to move about 4 hours away, and it became kind of impossible for us to record together other than doing it over the internet, which was very difficult for the games we wanted to play. From there, I had a brief stint of trying to do vlogging, which was difficult because I'm a boring person. I live in a small Midwest town, so there's not a lot to get out and do. So it was hard to find things to record. From there, I said, you know, I like Twitch. I watch a lot of Twitch. Why don't I stream on Twitch? So I decided to just give it a go one day.
Right on.
So I guess you would say I'm a variety streamer. I typically have been playing a lot of more story-based games lately. I used to almost exclusively play first-person shooters. Think Halo, Destiny, and Call of Duty. And Call of Duty fell off a lot sooner than Halo did for me. And then I kind of found out I played those, especially Halo, I played very competitively and very in almost like a tournament style mindset where it was, you know, I'm talking to my teammates and that's it. And I never conversed with chat.
Right.
And that wasn't a fun thing to stream. So then I was kind of just out of the blue. I played a game called Hellblade: Sinuous Sacrifice. And it's easily one of my favorite games of all time. And people came in and chatted a little bit more and loved it. We had a great time. And from there, I said, why don't I do more story games? There's a lot of great games with great stories that I've never played or gotten to experience because I just keep playing Halo or Destiny. Why not give them a go? And it's kind of snowballed from there.
That's awesome, man.
I love the getting started. I mean, when you rely on somebody else, and you know, it's no disrespect to your friend, but when you set up something, you rely on somebody else, and it just falls through, it's very easy to give up. It's very easy to kind of just let that go by the wayside. So picking it up on your own and taking it and running it with it, and then being where you are now, it's awesome. Yeah, I share a similar story when I talk about how I got started, but we're not here to talk about me for now. Why don't you tell us where this whole MPI or Mr. Pure Instinct, that whole naming kind of, why are you Mr. Pure Instinct? Like, you're not just Pure Instinct, there's a Mr. in there, and your instinct is apparently pure. What's the deal?
So
he's not
that all
asking
kind
that
of,
about he's not asking that about gender identity. I want to make that very clear up front.
No,
that has
it's-
nothing to do with this question.
Mocking the words in his name.
Sure, yeah,
Yeah.
just making fun of me specifically. I love it.
Exactly. We're
so-
specific with our insults here.
It all rolls back to the first-person shooter stuff, and it's horribly, horribly cheesy. But the name kind of stuck, and the name got printed on shirts, and the name couldn't change at that point, and I didn't think. But it was shooters are all very, very instinct-based. You see, you turn, you shoot. You want to have the best instincts that you can. Kind of just snowballed from there. It was mostly getting away from the really, really like cringy 12-year-old, you know, like XXX whatever XXX Xbox Live name that everyone had to have, and that's where it came from. Wow. But now it's almost been shortened to MPI pretty much everywhere. So the only places that you see it as Mr. Pure Instinct is the Twitch name, my Discord name, and on the back of a couple of t-shirts.
It's not even that way on Twitter.
And in my head.
So other than that, I mean, it's kind of fallen to MPI. Like the logo right there is just MPI. I was talking about having merch printed and created, and everyone just said just do like MPI really big. So
right on. So what keeps the MPI machine rolling? I mean, being that you relatively recently, you know, discovered or rediscovered a love of story games, and then that's been kind of pushing you in this variety direction. Aside from that, you know, that becomes sustainable on its own. But what keeps you doing that? What keeps you invested in your channel and your brand?
So there's a few things. The biggest one I think is the connection that you get with people on Twitch versus everywhere else online. So like I said, I've done YouTube, and I mean, we had that YouTube channel running for a while, and then I did my vlogging channel for a while. And you'll get a few YouTube comments here and there, but you might forget to go check them, or you'll check it while you're on like a 5-minute break at work, and you don't respond to it because it's a kind of a lengthy one. And then you just don't get a good connection with people who are watching your content. On Twitch, obviously you have chat where it's, you do something, less than 5 to 10 seconds later, your chat has a reaction or comes back and says something to you. So you get a real connection there. Other than that, I'm part of a stream team called Heart Support, which I'm wearing their shirt. Heart Support, they're a nonprofit organization that deals with mental health. Not to go in and like plug them too much, but I've always found that's a really big deal to me, is mental health. And there's a vocalist from my favorite band who had a saying, or it's, I guess, become a philosophy is a way to word it, that life's going to bury you up to your neck in crap, whatever it is, be it, work, depression, anxiety, addiction, anything. And you have to find your shovel, use it, dig yourself out of that hole. And once you know what that is, if you can take that shovel and dig someone else out with it, do it, and don't stop doing it. Because it's really important to be there and connect with human beings and help each other when people need it. And that's kind of what I found in Twitch, was that was kind of, I guess, my shovel in finding ways to, cope with my anxiety and depression. And I've had people come in and, say, hey, man, this stream has really helped me with my depression. I've been down for like 2 months. I found your stream, and like, you're just being here, having fun and joking with you about things is really helping me. And it was from then, it was like, I can't stop this. It became a really big deal.
Would you say that you can't stop, won't stop?
I would say I can't stop and I won't stop. But I must be
Wow.
dreaming.
Gotcha.
Wow. We dug deep for that one, speaking of shovels.
That was good. and for the record, I'm familiar with iHeart Support. Great channel. And it's awesome that you called them out, because if you're not watching them, why aren't you? They're awesome. Except for not right now.
Yeah, you're watching us.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm full of hot air, and I'm always, blowing things. I can't right now.
Wow.
I can't right now. Just
I see the
just
transition coming,
Joe,
chat.
just tell them about the hurricane. Just tell them about the
Jeez.
fucking.
Oh man.
Can we have
was
a moment of silence for that? Oh.
Listen,
So,
it's been a day. It's been a day.
I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not at the top of my game.
But what is beautiful? I don't know if you've ever seen news coverage of a hurricane. Before you guys cut me off, I'm going somewhere positive with this. If you've ever seen the actual like satellite photos of like from the space station, or any actual like digital photography lens, it looks amazing, and there was a lot of very interesting photos captured of this hurricane. So right now, the name of the article made me laugh. It says, "Oh my God, look at the Atlantic Ocean right now," because Florence is a machine. That is a very awful pun. She's on the way right on into the North Carolina, South Carolina coastline.
As long as you don't indicate that she's someone's aunt, I think we're in the clear.
Okay, we won't go there.
Okay, good.
So she's up to a Category 4 right now, and what is scary about this hurricane? Now, I've been through some of the worst ones of modern recording on the East Coast, living in Florida and in North Carolina. But what's scary about this one is, if this continues on its trend, this will be one of only 4 hurricanes in recorded history that has made it this strong, this far north of Georgia. Because normally these big ones will just kind of cruise on south and crush Florida. Like Hurricane Andrew was a really big one recently. Last year there was the one that went into the Gulf. No, I'm sorry, not last year. A couple years ago, that one that went into Texas and all
Harvey.
that. Thank you.
Harvey.
So it's a devastating force. It's an impressive force of nature, but it's a devastating force, and it's coming right into this area. So there's a lot of people getting scared. A lot of people posting about streams that are potentially canceled and all that. We just want to make sure everyone's safe. Everybody is not, this is not a time for people to sit and be dumb and brave to say, I've lived here all my life, I'll survive every hurricane.
Yeah, don't do that.
You won't.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a slightly stupid story,
Mhm.
hurricane story. In 1985, I slept through a hurricane, and I was angry because I missed the theater premiere of Godzilla 1985.
Okay.
I was 8. I was angry.
Hey, I get
didn't
it.
understand.
I get it. In Hurricane Andrew, I slept through it. I could sleep through construction in the next room at that age.
But was there a Godzilla film that you were at risk of missing?
No.
Was there kaiju at risk?
No,
Okay.
no, it was
Then you can't relate to me, sir.
Yeah, that's a really big deal.
okay.
For me, it actually is.
You win, Jim. You win.
No, it's not a competition. It's not a competition. It's
Um,
just it's a communication gap, and we're gonna get through it. You and me, we're partners. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
oh boy.
Everything is gonna be all right. And speaking of creepy, deep
Oh, man.
voices, Henry Cavill is gonna take a stab at playing Geralt, Heralded, though, from The Witcher on Netflix.
Can we
And
just
there's
call him
nothing
Gary?
right with. We call Gaul Gary, so
Okay.
it's different.
Fair enough.
There's nothing right about that sentence, though. Henry Cavill, Witcher, Netflix. None of those things fit together at all. Because you can't do The Witcher justice without an NC-17 rating. So unless they pull some Game of Thrones level shit, the show's going to suck. I'm telling you right now, because people don't play The Witcher for the swashbuckling. Sorry. Spoiler alert. Okay. But I don't think it's going to work. And I've often said that, like, superhero films, the ones that do the best, they cast people that are relative unknowns that you can associate with that character. And he's going to put on the gray or white wig or whatever. He's going to put on the boots, but everyone's going to see a big red S on his chest and a CGI removed mustache in the back of their minds. But I'm not a
this
Witcher.
would be part of his contract. Remove the mustache or don't get the gig. But I guess he has to have one he's got a beard. Geralt
Right.
has a beard.
Yeah,
So,
but
like,
that mustache, though. I mean, the beard doesn't have that thick of a mustache.
fair. I mean, they could CG. I mean, if they can CG his mustache off for the reshoots in Justice League, they can CGI one on for this if they have to.
I mean, he
For
looks
crying out loud.
He looks like the good honest cop if you ever cast that kind of role in Super Troopers with that gigantic handlebar. And I want anybody listening to this, anywhere that there is a comment feature, anywhere, whether you're in the live chat right now, YouTube chat, any other system where you can leave comments, we need as many Fs in chat for this mustache as possible. I want to see if this is actually going to work. It's going to fail miserably. But this thing, like, I saw one comment though. Here's one saving grace, and I could hear and see Jim rolling his eyes at that comment. Here's something that makes me laugh about this though. One of the comments for people that like Henry Cavill but don't know The Witcher. Geralt is a snarky dad that is constantly shirtless, so please get ready. I think if that's the only factor you need, this dude's like buff for Superman, right? I mean,
here's the thing. I don't like the DC films at all. I don't like them at all. And I never played The Witcher. I have no plans to play The Witcher. If I'm looking for sexy time, there's places I go for that, and I'm going for adventure games. I know where to go for that. I never saw the value in gluing those two things together, and I certainly don't see the value of just spitting Henry Cavill into this thing. And I feel like if this, for as beloved as this series is, so from a complete outsider that does not give a frog about The Witcher, okay, you need to cast somebody that is going to be believable and inhabits that role. And you can't get Superman to do that. I'm sorry. I don't believe it. I think it's a really, really stupid move. I'm sure he's a fine actor, Henry Cavill. I think he can pull off the role, but I think that the dissociation is going to ruin it before it starts. Same reason that that Bourne movie that had Hawkeye in it flopped. by
Yep.
all accounts, the script and the film
Oh,
itself were pretty well
man.
done, but just that guy in that role, it didn't wash
Mhm.
for a lot of people. They were too invested in him as Hawkeye, and I get it, but all I can think of with him, in The Witcher, is like just a slightly different take on the whole Gone with the Wind thing. Like to me, that's as close as it's gonna get. It's gonna be like the romance novel version of The Witcher. It's gonna be
Right.
cheesy from my
Yeah.
perspective.
I mean, I'm a little disappointed because I know The Witcher is not as big as Star Wars, Star Trek, any of those other kinds of sci-fi universes, but there is a giant, very loyal following, and those
Yes.
kinds of whether you're into these stories or not, these kinds of groups, you have to have the utmost respect. Why? Because if it sucks and they're happy, they're all gonna pay, and there's a lot of them. If it
Absolutely.
sucks and they're not happy, no one's gonna watch it. So it's weird. I mean, Star Trek Discovery ran into some different issues, but issues that angered the audience, and they went into reshoots, they went into rewrites, everything, because they brought in experts who know the Star Trek universe. I mean,
Why didn't they bring in an expert that would put it on a streaming service that someone gave a crap about?
Well, I mean, that's so we're not really gonna get into business here. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I agree.
Less actually.
Yes.
Okay, no.
Yeah, but
You're good.
I starting off on the wrong foot for something on a sensitive streaming service like Netflix, right? Because Netflix is trying to come into this market in the first place. If you're going to come aggressively with just because you've got a big name, I mean, it's not always going to work.
I mean, here's the thing. They are doing the Marvel stuff with relative unknowns and killing it right now. In fact, I had to stop a very in-depth binge of Iron Fist to come do this. Okay. Like, I didn't want to stop, can't stop, won't stop. Didn't want to, but I'm here. And I feel like if they want to reach that kind of level with this franchise, I think that your lead role is the most important, and I feel like they could have looked a little harder.
Yeah.
Getting off the wrong foot, that's one thing, but when that foot has a red boot on it,
Speaking of getting off on the wrong foot, Jim.
Oh, don't you even. Okay.
So Horizon, this is a stretch, but go with me on this. Horizon Zero Dawn has a Kickstarter. They're coming out with it, and the company producing it has been starting all of their Kickstarters way off on the wrong foot. They have yet to deliver fully on their first Kickstarter that is, I think, years old. And their
short version, if you haven't delivered on the first one, you don't get to start a new one. That's the entire conversation. There's no other answer. Next topic. Like that. Honestly, yeah. I don't care what the franchise is. I don't care what the project is. If you're not delivering on what you said you would do, Kickstarter needs to have something in place that says, no, you can't do. Sorry, no. I got burned for $300 on a Kickstarter a couple years ago. It was from some former Logitech devs for something called the OSIC X, which is 3D headphones that were meant to be like the for ears what VR was for eyes. And they had a bunch of prototypes. They were getting real close to production, and they just ran out of money and never shipped anyone anything. It was a real thing. People tried it. It was working, but they just couldn't move forward. And lots of us were like, well, then give us our money back. Well, obviously, we're never going to get it back because the terms are like, you can't. Yeah, you can't. Like you're putting in the money on the promise of something that may not arrive. And that's fine. That's a risk you're taking when you put that money in. But Kickstarter as an organization needs to recognize and enforce the inability of people to repeatedly not deliver the goods.
Right.
And to be honest, a Horizon Zero Dawn board game doesn't like that great of an idea in the first place. I like my cybernetic dinosaurs in 3D.
Yeah,
okay.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. I just played Horizon Zero Dawn on stream, like finished it yesterday. And then after watching the Kickstarter video for it, I was like, I just don't feel like this is going to translate.
You know what this needs? Monopoly. Like, I don't,
But, so to be fair, in some of the minifigs, like that realm, right? Not all of us have the time because we're too busy painting, right? Not all of us really are into some of these in-depth games, but we love the look and feel of it. So there is a bit of a, I want to say, cult following almost in seeing a beautiful game through PC, console, whatever, come to life in these creative figures, because it gives some of those creative minded individuals who like the physical painting a chance to relate one thing to the other. Fallout was a big
Then-
popular thing. It's exciting.
If that's the thing, though, then why not just release a figurine line, painted and unpainted, and call it a day?
Because Steam
Why you
Forge
gotta
is
put-
greedy. I mean,
Just-
I'm
Just
opposed.
charge more for the.
Well,
I don't get it.
Here's-
Just charge more for the statues, man.
here's the problem. Steam Forged went hard, super hard for this license, and this kind of licensing is hard to come by because they've got full exclusivity for this game. And if this
That's great.
gets
They need to
botched-
fight harder to get their crap taken care of before they fight for any licenses.
Hey,
Maybe
you
that.
know, preaching to the choir here. I mean, it's it's unfortunate.
Bruh.
I wish I could bring out more of these Kickstarters of console and PC games that people are into that are actually going to be successful, beneficial Kickstarters. Having a March 2020 release date.
No.
Next topic.
Nope.
Too far away.
I get
People are
you.
going to forget
Not-
about it.
Forget about what?
It's a pretty negative
Exactly.
Kickstarter, wouldn't you say, Jim?
I would say that it's a pretty horrible thing. We skipped a topic, but that's fine.
We did.
Um,
Oh, am I looking at the
We
wrong
totally
thing?
did. That's all right. No,
My
no, we'll do
bad.
that. No. We'll do that. I'll roll it on. I got you. I got you, fam.
There's that production
Okay.
quality again,
Here-
guys.
here's the edit. There you go. But speaking of negativity, absolutely. Like I feel like it's something in our culture we can't get away from, and there's no way to fully squash it. People are gonna wake up and they're gonna drink a cup of pee or whatever it is that takes people to get like that. Just take a spoonful of salt and just like whatever it is they do. And there's one streamer out there that's like, I've had enough. And he's basically put his hands on his hip and said, this is too much. I get that. It's got a myth, which he's apparently a very good Fortnite streamer. He's a highly skilled player, sought after from a tutorial perspective. He's good at what he does. And as with many other shooter and competitive streaming communities, there's a lot of support between all the larger streamers. And at one point, Ninja rated him, I guess, and people just started throwing all kinds of shade at him. And you play like crap, this and that, and a lot less flattering things I'm not going to repeat. And he's like, okay, well then guess what? If you're going to be like this, I'm going to turn off chat or not do the things you want me to do. In other words, the kind of things that he's known for, he's going to stop playing in that way or turn off the chats. Bears mentioning this young man is 19 years old, and he's made a very solid point of saying, I'm 19, I'm not used to this. It's like, okay. So there's a lot of moving parts to this, not the least of which is if you get into Twitch and you don't recognize that as you grow, the negativity will sometimes also grow, and you don't prepare for that, you share some responsibility with the outcome of what's going on. I feel like he got caught unprepared, and not just in terms of emotionally, obviously, but also like just the way his stream is being dealt with. The size that he is purported to be, in my opinion, he should have enough good moderators in his chat at all times that he shouldn't see half of that stuff. And you got to understand that people are going to be super loyal to streamers with competitive games, and they're going to talk trash and whatever it is, that's going to happen. You have to understand it's going to happen on some level and be prepared for it. You can, I've talked at a lot of different places and a lot of different opportunities about preparing for trolls, how to guard against them, all this other stuff. All the preparedness in the world is not going to save you from the most basic tip, which is just let it roll off your back. They don't know you. They don't care about you. They're looking for a reaction. And this dude is reacting in a big public way. This is not some kind of stand against toxicity. This is a 19-year-old kid who is basically doesn't know how to handle it. And to be fair, it's exactly what he's saying. He doesn't know how to handle it. But that's all it is. It's someone who he's not doing anything about it. He's just going, nothing. And he's like, take his toys away and go home. And I don't think it's a very good response when you have that kind of influence. However, I empathize with him. I wish him the best. I hope he figures a way around it. But I think that he needs more protection for his community and for himself, and to give less attention to these trolls, because turning off the chat is just going to alienate the people that support him. And I don't think it's going to solve anything. They'll find another way. What do you guys think?
Go for it, MPI.
I agree with a lot of what you said, Jim. I think he's starting with Twitch or any kind of online anything. You're going to always have these people who are either going to troll you, are just going to be rude, are, they're, like you said, they're looking for a reaction. That's their entertainment, is trying to get you to react and be upset. It's the same thing as, the bully on the playground. He's poking at you with a stick because he wants you to react. I think what you said, a lot of it he's going to have to ignore. But I also understand, like you said, he's 19. This isn't something that he's used to dealing with. And maybe his rise to however big he is on Twitch now, maybe this is the first time he's really had to deal with it.
Fair.
And it's coming at him, full force, rather than, he started with, maybe 20 viewers and he had one troll come in and, they took care of it, where he's, probably got, thousands of viewers now, and it's just coming at him a lot faster than it would some of us. And it's kind of just blindsided him.
And I can relate to it, because one of the first streams I ever did, that kind of thing happened to me. I went from an average of 3 viewers, I went up to like several thousand viewers, and it was consistent for a couple hours. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how to handle it. And I'm in my 40s now. Granted, I was in my 30s then. Not that that makes a big of a difference. I understand where he's coming from. I'm not really criticizing his perspective. I'm criticizing his reaction. Because the perspective is one we all share. None of us wants to deal with toxicity. And the second you realize we're not talking about somebody who had 5 viewers yesterday and then today he got all those views and then now he's, freaking the internet talking about it. He's getting covered in Kotaku. That's not what we're talking about.
Right.
We're talking about somebody who's a known Fortnite streamer, who's been doing this for at least a little while, knows what it's like to have lots of viewers. And when you get to that place, you should make it a point to network at least enough to find out, okay, I know I'm getting bigger. I've never done this before. What do you do? And I think that there was a lack of foresight there, and I think it's a lesson learned. I don't know what it's going to do to his community, if you want to call it that, if he just starts shutting stuff down that he's known for. And I wonder if it's going to damage things more than fix them. I'm worried about that.
Well, one of the things I've noticed is that not only does your chat have the potential to drive your content, your interaction with your chat also obviously drives your content. And there's some things that are slightly disappointing, and I get that he's 19. You can only excuse your behavior way so much for things like your age, and at 19 years old, yes, you're a popular new kid on the block, so to speak. Just throw in an old.
Not a Backstreet Boy.
Nope, not a Backstreet Boy, but a new kid on the block, right? Taking it back old school. But he
and this guy clearly has the right stuff.
Oh yes. Well done. I love it. So one of the things one of the things I've noticed though is that reading through the article and understanding what's happening. I have never watched this stream. I don't have any plans to. It's not any knock on him. It's just not my kind of environment. When someone comes in and makes a stupid comment like your stream's unwatchable, and then you snap back just as negative with things like, well, don't watch it then. You're contributing to the problem that is bothering you. You are now part of your problem. And if you have that negativity, if you're attacking back at your chat, that's going to bring in more people to do the same thing, and it's going to spiral out of control. When instead, Jim, I think you nailed it earlier, have the right mods, learn to let it roll off your back, get over it. I've had people come in and criticize me and my parenting, right? I've made comments on stream and people have criticized my parenting. Well, you can either get out. I'm not going to make a scene. I'm not going to make a comment. We're going to go ahead and move on and go past it. And guess what? All of my mods know how important being a parent is to me. And if anybody's going to be intentionally negative and insulting about it, they're going to just be quietly taken out the back door. No one's going to get beaten. They're just going to be shown out the door, and they're not going to have a place to talk anymore.
Right. No one's asking people to have a sixth sense about things. Okay.
Right.
No one's asking you to do that. And if you missed that reference, I pity your soul. I'm just saying. No one's asking you to like be totally aware of things and get things, taken care of before it happens. There's only so much preparedness you can do. And when things occur, it is all in how you react and how you either rise or fail to rise to the occasion. And that's what keeps guys like Ninja, at the top, or pardon me if current events are different, close to the top, whatever. He's still one of the best guys out there, despite my disagreements with certain stances that he takes on certain issues. I think that at the end of the day, guys like him, Gathalion, Professor Broman, and the list goes on, are people that deal with negativity in such a way that they don't give it the attention it deserves, which is none. And they keep their community positive. Instead of focusing on what the trolls are doing, focus on what everyone else is doing and keep them entertained, keep them happy, keep yourself happy. I think is the best policy there. And you can't.
I don't want to cut you off. I mean, we do want to keep everybody happy. I know we're going to soon broach into some topics that I might try and make Jim unhappy.
Yeah, fine, whatever.
Okay. So go for it. So
Destiny 2 has a mechanic where every week it resets the higher level rewards that you can get from certain activities. They have changed that reset to rotate every 4 days in some cases, 7 days in others. At some point during the first week of release, Saturday, as a matter of fact, the first week of release for Forsaken, the biggest expansion to date, Saturday, the weekly reset occurred by accident. And if you caught that and didn't realize it wasn't supposed to happen and did those things, not only did you not get the powerful gear you were expecting, you've also gotten yourself in a place where you're not going to get those for this week either. So it'll be next Tuesday before you can get those rewards. I have one thing to say about that. Oops. It happens. This is a big thing that happens with these games. There's a lot of moving parts, and this is the deepest and most complex economy and leveling system we've seen inside of Destiny ever. We all knew there was going to be bumps in the road. It was going to happen. And the fact of the matter is this: if you do the math on how many powerful engrams, that's an industry term in Destiny. If you do the math on how many powerful engrams are actually available to you guaranteed right now with Forsaken, losing out on 2, maybe 3 total for 1 week ain't a freaking thing. Calm your man boobs and your woman boobs. All boobs, calm. Pectoral muscles need to be at rest. Okay, it's not a big deal. They acknowledged it as soon as it happened. They're like, "Hey, this happened," and they acknowledged it within like an hour of it happening, which is for Bungie really freaking fast. And they said, "Hey, here's what's going on. Here's what's affecting. We're trying to fix it." Today they said, "Yeah, it definitely didn't reset properly. We're working on getting it fixed before next Tuesday. Sorry." And here's the thing. You can get a really powerful engram called a Prime Engram at least once a day, if not twice a day. If you just wait for it, play the game. It's fine.
I need to
just
learn about
play
this
a little
engram.
longer.
I need to learn about this Prime Engram.
Once you hit level 50 and you hit 500, the Cryptarch imbibes you with a buff called Prime Attunement. And bosses and Crucible opponents have a random chance, albeit a low one, to drop a Prime Engram. And every enemy you get, the chance goes up. You'll get one, and then it resets to the lowest possible chance once you get one, and then it goes from there. So it's one of these things where just being there, just doing stuff, gets you these things. So this idea that that this system for 1 week was broken, and not the whole system, just 3 chances. out of like, I think it's 17 or something that you can possibly get in a week or more. And then the raid comes out this weekend. And that's another chance of how many drops and this and that. And, woo, and there's stuff we haven't discovered yet in certain areas of the game I won't spoil. People just need to calm the F down because they're like, oh, we're getting raid ready. And I'm like, I guarantee most of you dudes complaining about not being raid ready, you're going to be at work at the Krispy Kreme or wherever you work. You're not going to be trying for world's first. Don't even talk like that. I know everyone wants to get their little WWE World Championship belt for being world's first raid, which is something that is going on, that's happening. What they said, basically, this is a very, very quick topic. If you are world's first completion on this raid, or any raid that has ever occurred, a confirmed world's first, you get a championship belt with like the little skull on it, and it's pretty cool. And I'm waiting to hear people's Macho Man impressions when they get their hands on them and stuff. And
if whoever wins
there's gonna be
that
more
thing
raids.
doesn't have like a video of them doing some type of wrestling impression, I'm gonna be really disappointed.
Well, the thing is, what we need to do for Guardian Con next year is get as many of those guys in one room as possible. Get them in a ring. Do like a Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Like the ladder match where it's suspended.
They have to actually climb the ladder and get it.
Can you imagine
Well, if
some
that's
of the stereotypical
I can imagine
Destiny
that a lot of the
players?
guys that are, I can imagine that there's a large portion of people that would be like, no, man, I work at Krispy Kreme, dude. I can't do this. But was that too soon? Speaking of too soon, there is word on the street that there is a potential PlayStation 5 release date on the horizon for, I think it was 2019, which is like, no, it's not going to be a thing. I'm thinking it'd be 20. And it's just a lot of rhetoric surrounding this idea that basically the whole article is just one big long thing. Well, Sony says it has to have more power. They're really concerned about the multitasking and the GPU and it's going to come out a lot sooner than you think, which is the same crap that surrounds every console release for a couple of years until they actually announce it and then make fun of each other for a while. Everyone says something else is better, then someone nails it with a great burnt and ernie video, and we can. I don't have any faith in this article at all. I don't have any faith in the supposed release date, and I know that Sony wants more power on their PS5. So rather than talk about the possibility of the PlayStation 5 coming out next year, what I want to know from you guys is, if they do a PlayStation 5, what should their focus be for their next console iteration?
Crossplay.
Excellent answer, and correct.
Yeah, I was gonna
Also-
say something to do with their storage and network, just hardware,
Yes.
so that cross saving, all of that. I would like to see a better user management system so that you could go to a friend's place instead of having to pack up all your crap. You can just drop right into their system and be just fine. Because if you have everything out on the cloud or in the sky or whatever,
They should have better two-factor.
Yep.
They should have two-factor built into the app. And then what they should have to do is when you go to your friend's house, you type out your name, and then the two-factor pops on the app and go boop, and then that's you, and you're logged in.
Yes.
That's how that should work. So really, I don't think the console is so much the concern as much as their infrastructure. As far as the cross-save and cross-play stuff, most of your game developers already have that taken care of. All Sony has to do
turn it on.
Is get the hell out of the way.
Yeah.
That's it.
We already know that visually, maybe not process-wise, but visually, these next-gen consoles already have the potential. I mean, hell, the current Xbox and current PS4, whatever the nicknames for them now are, have
PS4 Pro and Xbox One X.
Thank you. They have the 4K graphics. Maybe not necessarily the same processor performance that you would want ideally, but they have all of the visual aesthetics that you would need. And I have every confidence that anybody that can be a front runner in the console gaming, every new console is going to be at the front of the pack for all of that.
Honestly, all they have to do is create a framework that creates a standard of at a bare minimum 1080p 60 frames, then a bare minimum 4K 30 frames with the potential for 4K 60 frames depending upon the type of game, and that's your standard. If you can do that and make something that's stable for that, I'm down.
Absolutely.
If you can't do that and keep it at 400 or less, then what you need to do, Sony and Microsoft, is pack it in for hardware. Just keep making good controllers and then put out your stuff as a service on a software platform. You can compete with Ubisoft and Steam and EA if you want to. That's fine. But I'm over it. I'm over this proprietary nonsense that you've been placing on. You can even charge for the online service if you really feel like you have to make money. I completely understand that if you have to do that. PlayStation Plus is a great value because you get free games. I look at it as a free game service. It also enables me to play online. Works out fine. And if you do the same thing with Xbox Live Gold, if you think of it in those terms, it's my free game service that gives me access to their online networks. Who cares?
There's
So if they were to,
that's happening.
I hope that's true, because if they do that, then it will be less of a concern to do cross-play and cross-save and all that stuff. It would make more sense from a business standpoint than anyway. So if instead of making your money by having this, this piece of hardware you put in people's homes, you have to put all this R&D into to update, you charge people a yearly fee. You take what was PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live Gold, make that your service fee. You release your exclusives on your platform and also allow people to have their third-party stuff. So like you could have a Destiny 2 Sony version, have the Blizzard version, and so on. And give people the option to have like a little Roku kind of thing, something not necessarily like a Roku, but like treat the console like disk drives are gone, no more, bye, see ya, and make it basically a glorified hard drive with some proprietary hardware in there. So you could make probably a $200 box. So if you don't want to have a PC, you can have like this thing that's all it is. It's a GPU, a CPU, and a hard drive, basically, all with power supply and shit. But like, make it so that a lot of the computing is done in the cloud, much in the way like the PlayStation Now services now, a lot of what the Xbox One X does now. If you do it that way and make that box specifically for people who don't have a PC, and you lean heavily into the software is the product as opposed to the hardware, and step away from a little bit of the proprietary.
But
wouldn't
that rely too much on network capabilities? Like if you're in a really, really crappy area for internet, or you're on dial-up or something?
So
the exact same argument was made when this was brought up with cloud computing back when this generation came out. I haven't heard anyone complaining about it.
Okay.
And on top of that, name one AAA game that is alive past 6 months of its release date that doesn't have a persistent online functionality. I will wait.
The Witcher 3.
Yeah, but Henry Cavill is going to kill that franchise once it gets on Netflix. No, that's fair. And I feel like something like that, though, you could just grab an external hard drive, right? Like just sell solid state hard drive, and that could be, you can make up for it that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There would be a way to keep the cost low for some kind of a console thing, without it being, because you could still make the hardware, but making it so that you no longer have to do this.
I wish I had the article that they had, but another show I was listening to, there was a rumor with Xbox doing something a lot like what you're saying. They were going to have a $150 box, which was GPU, CPU, the bare minimum that it needs to run, and then it connects to your network. They take Xbox Live and Game Pass. I think that's what their service is called.
Yeah, I think so.
Roll it all into one thing, and then you stream your games to that box if you have the network capability.
Mm-hmm.
Or the other option was a higher end one, which would do a little bit more as far as 4K, those types of things. That would be much more expensive, more on par with like the One X being like a almost $600 machine. And then you would just play your games directly on it like you do now.
Right.
But it would be a little bit more powerful. That's probably going to be more for your, hardcore Xbox guy. But if you play 1 or 2 games a year, and that's Call of Duty and Madden or whatever, buy the cheaper box. Pay for your Xbox Live subscription that you're gonna buy anyway. Pay for your Games Pass subscription, and save yourself the upfront extra $450, $550. And
here's something
there's
else.
no telling how much of that's true, but that's the rumor mill of Xbox doing something like that.
Sony, if you're listening, you don't even have to sell me hardware or software to make money. Check this the hell out. Using Destiny 2 as an example, I would gladly throw Microsoft and Sony each an extra $20 to $30 a year just to be able to play that one game, cross-save and cross-play. In other words, let's assume for the PC player that does not have any sort of Xbox or PlayStation interaction or integration, you opt into this feature and you're paying for that. Or you can pay like the full $49 and whatever, you know what I mean? But the point is, if you make an opt-in in that way, where you're making money from all ends and all directions, you could get away from this proprietary idea. As far as like, no, it's mine. Like this whole idea, they're hanging on too tight to something that the entire industry is, in spite of itself, moving away from. No one's interested. Like Nintendo, you need to get over yourselves. Microsoft is starting to get over themselves. Sony was over themselves, and now they got a big ego. Like all these companies got to realize that there's enough people and independent artists in the world that will make games on their own and will have stuff to play. And in other words, this community is self-sustaining when it comes to gaming and entertainment. And we will eventually either force you to create these things we want you to create, or we will force you out of the marketplace and we'll replace you with somebody else. I don't know why this is such a difficult thing for them to understand. There's only so many Spider-Man releases in a decade. There's only so many Halo releases in a decade. I just get frustrated.
Yeah, I think the exclusivity is becoming too far and few.
Good catch. It's a good catch.
Yeah.
I think it's also getting to be less about an exclusive game and more about an exclusive tiny piece of content for a AAA across all platforms game. Like,
yeah, don't get me started on that.
Yeah, so like Destiny, for example, just to bring it back in, why not? They're
ugly ass armor, inconsequential weapons, sparrows that are usually going to drop at 150, which aren't useful for a thing. If I want my Guardian to look ugly, go slow, and kind of shoot things with okayly, I should be able to do it on any platform I want. Having an exclusive deal like that, and then having the exclusive gear be kind of like, it's like meh. Yeah. Now, like the extra maps and the strikes, things like that, that's where I get a bit salty. I'm a PS4 main.
Kind of like Call of Duty right now. They've been with Sony for a couple of years, and the PlayStation gets the new map pack a month and a half before everyone else does.
Yeah, I get you.
I mean, if you have exclusive gear and stuff like that, I mean, ignoring stats for a second, like, to me, it would be. We can go over to Fortnite for a quick second with this. It would be pretty cool if you have that cross-play for each of those consoles. Their exclusive rights would be to have some sort of a actually good-looking piece of swag, like give somebody an ornament for a helmet. Did I say that right?
Right. I guess my point is that if you want to do exclusive gear, do it exclusive for everything.
Yeah.
So like there should be a set of armor for PC. There should be a set of armor for PS4, a set of armor for Xbox, or just have none of that.
Yeah.
And have other ways to identify yourself with like flair, like whether it's emblems or emotes or what have you. Like the Xbox Destiny 2 emote would be someone drinking Mountain Dew and eating Doritos. And the Sony one would be someone hugging a waifu pillow. The PC one would be someone pushing up their glasses saying actually. That would be,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
play all three, so come at me.
but
yeah.
but that's my point. If you play all three, or if you play two of the three, or if you play just one, and you have that exclusive content with crossplay capabilities, you should be able to unlock that by using the other system.
Yes.
But you should be able
And-
to wear it, use it, and show it off anywhere you are logged in.
And here's the thing. If you have all three and you play all three in any given season, you should be able to equip an emote in Destiny 2 where you're just burning money. You're just burning money.
You just
No,
throw
burning
it on
it,
fire,
burning it. Just throwing
Oh, okay.
pour kerosene on it. Who cares?
One of these nights, I'll have a couple beers during the podcast and I'll let you know how much I spent on the release of Destiny 2.
Well, I mean, but you've got a family in this game with you, and you're on multiple systems.
I didn't at the time. There's no way I would spend that
Ooh.
much. Now,
Oh,
this was for me, myself, and I. And on that cliffhanger, if you have a podcast topic that sounds as interesting as that, if you'd like us to discuss on the show, email us at TRUtalk@TRUtalkgaming.com or go to our website, TRUgaming.com, and social media links to contact us.
remember to subscribe to our channels for episodes via YouTube, Twitch, iTunes, Spreaker. Now that Jim's back,
Breaker.
SoundCloud, and now on Spotify. I guess that's old news these days.
We're going to be back in 1 week, hurricane permitting. I'll have more True Talk with special guest Angry Glinga. We will try to finally figure out why she's so angry. I bet she's not. Spoilers. Make sure you check out the Discord at discord.gg/TRUgaming and tell all your friends, unless you're like me and don't have any, you'll worry about the podcast. My name's GamerDad Jim. Say goodnight, GamerDad.
Good night, Jim.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mr. Pure Instinct, MPI. Thanks for being on the show. You were a blast. We'll have you again sometime. Really appreciate you.
Definitely. Thanks for having me, guys. I had a really good time. Jim, we'll have to talk about Destiny more. I am coming
Yes.
over from the Xbox to the PC side.
Oh, I make it my point to know more about Destiny than most people, and I'm actually just recently changed the focus of my content to help people grind efficiently part-time, so you're not making Destiny a 80-hour-a-week job, or if you like do that weird thing and play other games, or have a family or whatever.
Sounds like something
And-
I'm going to benefit from greatly.
Yep.
To put an
Now that
end
I have
cap-
to start completely over. I need that.
Yeah, we'll talk here in a second. But now to put an end cap on the part that's going to be edited out. Thanks for tuning into True Talk. We'll see you next time.
Yeah,